Hey everybody, it's Master Gallengeist here, bringing you my review of Ultimate X-Men 2024 Volume 1. Okie dokie, and this is 1999 US, 25 Canadian. And I did not enjoy this one. Mainly because it just felt like the Ultimate X-Men label was put on this more as a marketing kind of thing, rather than it actually being an X-Men one. Now, it's really kind of funny in that you'll be like, okay, you said that like the Ultimate Black Panther one was too safe. This one is just like, okay, it's more of a supernatural kind of thing, more than kind of an X-Men thing. I would actually call My Hero Academia more of an ultimate kind of X-Men kind of thing, more than this. This just seems like more of a supernatural manga kind of thing, focusing on Japanese high school students more than anything dealing with the Ultimate Universe. We don't really get much on the Maker or his kind of cadre of what's going on here. Mutants as a concept aren't really explored much world building lore wise, except that these characters are dealing with like their own kind of crazy things. And the art style is fine, but it's not really for me. I don't think it's horrible or anything. It just didn't pull me in and just wow me on things. So let's kind of get into this because we are introduced to Hisako, kind of graduating, getting into like high school and everything like that. Evidently, one of her friends had like killed themselves, and dealing with that kind of whole thing, and being like stalked by this shadowy asshole kind of dude. Talking about Tsubasa, I'm sure. So you do remember Tsubasa, but then you were friends after all. Did you know I was close to Tsubasa too? Not as close as you, of course. And like that he was all right, but then he got like bullied and stuff, and talking about how their eyes are open and they're going for vengeance on shit. And she's like, "What the fuck's kind of going on here?" And then seeing a thing of like Tsubasa like hanging, it's like, what the fuck's kind of going on here? Her trying to bike away and then having her powers activate. Now that's a pretty cool shot there, but it's very kind of more watercolor-esque, and I'm fine with that. It's just kind of more washed out than I would kind of like. Of course, her not being normal again, trying to figure out kind of what's going on. The Thing wanting her to join him. But using her powers, well, kind of using them, they kind of defend her on their own to a degree. Bringing about that like his curse is in motion, and that like some of the bullies of, let me see, she gets a call from someone talking about Tsubasa's coach, that he killed himself. It's like, what the fuck's kind of going on here? It's like, all right, I don't see how this is Ultimate X-Men, but okay. We get introduced to another kind of character that's got powers, more similar along the lines of like Storm, seeing an infection kind of thing, similar to the kind of creeping black kind of stuff going on. Her berating herself from not helping out her friend as much as she should have, for being introduced to this character. It's like, alright, she's got X-Men motif kind of stuff on, but it's like, alright. Introducing herself as May, saying you can trust her. They pretty much go to like this thing in an abandoned school. It's like, alright, that's, I mean, I don't mind it in a Japanese setting, and it makes sense because these are things that usually kind of go on and everything. It's like, what the fuck's kind of going on here? And we see her utilizing her powers that are kind of stormish, I guess. Utilizing wind to kind of fuck with this kind of thing. But then, of course, we see her armor powers. Hisako's going on, and it's like, what the fuck's going on? We see this kind of Cerebro kind of thing, more along the lines of Japanese kind of curse thing. I know her face from somewhere. Hisako. It's like, alright. It's really kind of strange because normally this kind of stuff should kind of pull me in, but it just really isn't, especially when it's like, okay, Ultimate X-Men, the Ultimate Universe. I'm really into the maker's kind of concept of like fucking this universe up and what these characters have to do to kind of deal with it. This definitely really dives more deeply into the Japanese kind of setting, and I'm fine with that. I'm alright with that in manga and the setting for what's kind of going on with that. This just doesn't feel like they're getting their powers through how we normally associate them with mutants. This is more kind of like supernatural kind of things, or at least presented in a way that gives me more supernatural vibes more than anything. And of course, we see May's kind of transformation sequence dealing with her parents being assholes. And her link to the Shadow kind of dude. And that somehow doing this, I mean, she gets struck by her dad. It's like, you asshole. And then she just fucking blasts. Now that's a pretty cool scene there. And it turns her hair white and everything. Of course, getting kicked out of the house because she's a punk and shit like that. I'm like, alright. Her hair and eyes changing and everything. It's like, okay. And then it doesn't help that we get introduced to this other kind of character that pretty much has more kind of magical kind of things. Saying that they're mutants as well. And seeing that hers are more kind of like presented as psychic medium kind of things. Like there's a difference between psychic medium and a psychic with like mind powers. And this is more of like a psychic kind of medium thing. Trying to delve what's kind of going on with this kind of stuff. Again, being beset by someone who's like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, all those people linked up to what happened to Tsubasa are like killing themselves. What's kind of going on here? But seeing that they're like infected by the Shadow King kind of thing, and then utilizing her armor powers again to kind of like try and protect herself and take out the Shadow thing. Before utilizing that to like kill the dude. It's like, what the fuck is going on? Of course, seeing that kind of go on social media and everything as May is attempting to help out and fry all the phones. Now that's pretty cool art there. I can dig with that. And how the kind of paneling is. Before linking up with pretty much another kind of Electro one. And the thing is, it just seems to be like just the same kind of group of like girls at the moment. And I don't mind just focusing on girls. They just don't seem to have that much of a, like, I mean, their powers are a little bit different. But I mean, okay, we've got another one that's kind of got electric / kind of maybe weather-based powers. The great thing about like the X-Men are having all different kinds of people and everything. I mean, you've got Charles, you've got Cyclops, you've got Jean Grey, you've got Bishop, you've got Cable, Deadpool, Wolverine, Magic. Now I know that Magic is in here as well, like the whole Rasputin and like Eurasian kind of thing, which is a different kind of set here, and I don't mind this being in Japan. I'd just like to have a lot of different kind of eclectic kind of people going on, and I understand this is kind of like setting that up and understanding it, but we're very hyper localized onto what's going on at this school, and then we get more into a little bit of this kind of cult thing, which there's a big kind of history of fucked up weird ass cult shit in Japan, and alright, alright. And of course, we see Mei and Hisako kind of confabbing on what's kind of going on with this thing. And her getting screwed up by the Shadow King kind of dude. And getting a little bit more into the kind of powers here. Of Nico. And trying to figure out this whole thing before squishing it. It's like, oh god. Now this at least starts going a little bit more interesting kind of color dynamics going on. We get a little bit of someone bringing up being like, oh, we should be the X-Men right here. Introducing some other characters that look to be mutants or whatnot, kind of Cyclop-ish or whatnot. Getting a little bit more backstory of pretty much the Shadow King on this kind of front. And what his powers do, and his, like, hearing of voices and everything, and being linked up to the whole cult and his mother and all that. It's like, oh god. Getting more of the them kind of going up against his ass. And then kind of finally bringing in kind of like the Homo Superior before kind of ending it out. I do kind of like that they put little things in at the end with like lexicon and explaining certain kind of Japanese kind of concepts and everything. It's just oh, and you get a little thing at the end here of like, oh, no good grades there on that front. I don't know, like, this very much felt like they just slapped the Ultimate X-Men on it, on this kind of story, which I think it actually would have been stronger if this was just a manga on its own exploring certain kind of supernatural things going on. I mean, I know that can be seen as a dime a dozen or whatnot, but I really... Between looking at this, I hadn't really looked much into the 2000s Ultimate X-Men. I'd seen some stuff kind of based off of it, but I've been reading the X-Men from the Ashes and everything, and had seen movies and all that, so I'm familiar with the kind of characters and concepts, and wanted to see kind of what this Ultimate Universe would change up for them. And this is just more of, okay, like, the writer or whatnot had a certain kind of concept. It's like, oh, we could kind of just slap the Ultimate X-Men on that, and it just is like, alright. I could definitely see this turning off certain kind of people of being like, okay, this is more just like set in a Japanese high school with just Japanese school children, and dealing with that. And there's a certain element of the X-Men to deal with that, yes. But the thing is, it goes with all these different kind of characters and all that, and we're just hyper-localized on these at this point, which, I mean, yeah, it's the first volume. I'm not going to completely knock it on that. You need to introduce your cast and your characters, understand what the stakes are going on for. I just think that was done better with, like, Ultimate Black Panther, Ultimate Spider-Man, and the Ultimates. It's like, okay, how does this even really connect? Like, you take off the Marvel and the Ultimate X-Men and anything trying to deal with the Maker or whatnot, which isn't really even, is barely kind of scattered throughout this, and it would just be, I wouldn't be able to tell you that this had any kind of connection, like, whatsoever. And I know that sounds kind of strange, like, how am I trying to get this point across? Like, if not for, like, certain things that kind of just are kind of window dressing that really don't affect the story that much, you wouldn't be able to tell that this was dealing with mutants and the Marvel Ultimate Universe that much. That's how kind of isolated this is at the moment. And I don't need it to completely and utterly connect every time with the universe around it, but when I could pretty much just be like, I could barely tell that this is connected to that universe, that kind of presents some problems for me in my enjoyment with it. So, I'm not really into this. I don't think the characters are bad or anything like that. I just don't think it really connects enough for the Ultimate Universe for me to be like, oh, this is something I need to read or anything. Now, art-wise and story-wise, I think I could recommend this to people for that, but not as an X-Men comic at this point. Which I know it's weird to kind of say. So, those are my opinions on the volume. Tell me what you guys think in the comments below. If you liked it, if you didn't like it, if you agree with me, if you disagree with me. Also like and subscribe, and I hope you have a good day.